It is Thursday, the first day of November. We are less than 6 days out from the biggest puppet show on Earth. And no, it isn't P.T. Barnum and Bailey Circus. It is election 2012 with the star of Fast and Furious and government, healthcare, and banker bailouts, Barack Obama, against Mr. Carbon Tax, author of Obamacare, anti-gun, globalist banker raider, Mitt Romney. And who loves you and who do you love? The greatest show on earth, The Running Man, and Mad Dog Ben Richards and his cohorts ready to race and fight for it all in The Running Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I personally am going to vote for Emperor Palpatine right now here in Texas. I'm going to go out and vote for him today because I think, I just want pure open evil out in the open, better than evil disguising itself, much less puppets disguising themselves. Here's the deal. I never successfully have done it. Not in 17 years on radio. I've gotten close a few times and taken like 20, 30 calls in an hour. But I really do. I think part of the reason is that we don't screen calls, which makes them really interesting and makes the show really powerful and live. But at the same time, you also get a lot of folks that are, sitting back having a brew, sitting there for 30 minutes on hold. When you go to them, sometimes they're in a coma. We always have the best callers out there when we say, I want to hear from engineers on this subject, or I want to hear from police, or I want to hear from nurses being forced to take inoculations, or I want to hear from school teachers. If we ask for demographics, we got it all. But we're not going to screen the calls today, and it can be a free-for-all, but I'm going to have John Harmon up there at Genesis working his butt off. He always does a great job because we're going to try to take 5 calls every 5 minutes in this first hour. And that means I will just come back, briefly mention some of the headlines, and then get to all those headlines in detail in the second and third hour with Stuart Rhodes of Oath Keepers, who's going to be riding shotgun with us. I had him on for about 45 minutes Sunday, and there's just so much to talk about. He's a constitutional lawyer, scholar, award-winning constitutional lawyer, author, and Army veteran, and he will be joining us about the fact that we are basically simply filling out the future battle space. Now, we're going to cover more on the hurricane. We're going to get more into the economy that I covered some yesterday, but I've got to get more into because there's a lot of things that are being distracted by the hurricane and the election, and that's what's happening militarily, geopolitically. We will get to the key points on that today. They now admit looting over a 5-state area, very intense in New Jersey, in different cities like Atlantic City and other areas like Manhattan and the surrounding areas, Coney Island, just absolutely pilfered at will, and a lot of arrests there. And will we see a retraction out of the Atlantic Monthly online? Will we see a retraction out of the Daily Communist, the Daily Beast, with the Newsweek front? Saying we were insane Monday for saying that there'd be looting and people were tweeting they were planning to loot. See nowadays, you're bad if you're right. So that is going to be coming up. And they've had to deploy troopers in New Jersey and New York and other areas over frustration fights and things breaking out. They're out of gas. And I guess I'm bad again. In Strategic Relocation, the new film with Joel Skousen, where it's not about running out and living in the countryside. That's if you're retired and have the money to do it and want to do that. It's about every city by city, the escape routes the general public doesn't know about. The book that you can get with it is basically a giant, well, it's not basically, detailed, tracked, personally driven, and scouted by Joel Skousen, former Marine Corps fighter pilot from Vietnam and expert on the New World Order.
While we fight to retain our liberty, while we fight to expose globalism, we have to realize we're talking about a very powerful combination of power.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen breaks down the globalist plan to shut down America and stage a new world war.
In one day, America will go from day to night. And if you haven't prepared in advance, there's not enough time to prepare in 24 hours, even if you saw it that early.
Coming to the InfoWar in November is our new documentary film presentation.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation.
The freeways are going to be crowded, they're going to run out of gasoline, they're going to run out of food, and then they're going to start to go north and south of those freeways.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states.
Government is digging in for the organized, incremental collapse of society and world war.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come. Most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town when any of these nuclear weapons fall, because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy.
What I tell people is that you do have time. Prepare wisely in advance.
This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. Your host, Alex Jones, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. If you're listening on your local AM and FM dial, or if you are simply listening over the internet at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, or watching us via InfoWarsNews.com, where we are streaming video of the radio show. We also have the nightly news transmission, 7 o'clock Central every night at InfoWarsNews.com as well. And, of course, we also have folks listening on XM 166 to the transmission live as well. Okay, Stuart Rhodes, constitutional lawyer, Army veteran, founder of Oath Keepers, will be joining us in the next hour to cover the waterfront. The FEMA camps, the government documents admitting the re-education centers, the legislation, the civilian inmate labor camp programs, the facts. And what his intel is giving him with all the police and military contacts he has, because he heads up the only and also obviously the largest serious anti-New World Order, pro-America veteran and police group, where they simply say they will defend the Republic from enemies foreign and domestic and follow their oaths. Of course, that sounds very simple, doesn't it? But that is treason to the foreign banks that brag in hundreds of publications and on television that they have conquered the United States through financial espionage and fraud. We have been infiltrated. We have to get in the globalist face and expose them as the criminals they are and bring them to justice. You know, I was thinking about Fast and Furious today, and I saw this CNET news article. Court okays warrantless use of hidden surveillance cameras on your property without a warrant. Big Brother putting cameras on your property and filming you without a warrant. And they're announcing they're watching you over your cell phones. The NSA is listening to you without a warrant illegally. And they say they're doing this to stop drugs. I thought it was Al-Qaeda they run. But it's just so amazing to know that government and megabanks on record have been caught, not hundreds, but thousands of times. There have been congressional hearings in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. The CIA's Inspector General had to certify that they did bring narcotics in during the 80s to destabilize things and fund Iran-Contra. And the troops are on Fox, CNN, you name it, growing opium and admitting they grow the opium and saying that's how they fight Al-Qaeda. 10 years ago, less than 10% of the opium in the world came out of Afghanistan. Now it's 93%. Last U.S. number I saw. I mean, the government is run by foreign banks that run the child kidnapping rings, the narcotics trafficking, the illegal weapons trafficking. Organized crime runs the world now. And organized crime wants to shut down the final free speech. Organized crime wants to be able to secretly arrest you and have no due process, and is hiring criminals into law enforcement to wage war against we the people. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Another Florida court is set to rule and a judge is saying that they think it's great to have dogs just randomly out of the blue come to your house and smell for drugs and then come in without warrants. I haven't covered this yet because I'm so busy. I think I'm going to do a story on it. Because I almost did a story on this last year when I started hearing these radio ads and seeing TV ads saying, you know, the Software Association of America, I forget its exact name. You guys ask Tim Frigé to give me that letter, please. You know, call and tattle if someone's pirating software. Well, we buy every piece of software we use in here unless it's GNU or Linux. You know, open source. We do have a lot of open source stuff because it's sometimes there isn't even a off-the-shelf system to use. We have to customize it. But, you know, we use some big companies as well, and we are neurotic about following every little stupid thing. I don't let people do their private business here on their computers at my offices because they could be connecting into things on the internet I don't want going over our network. I mean, it's all work-related when you're here at this office. If you want to do something on your lunch break, go out and do it on your iPhone or iPad outside if you want to go pay your bills or whatever. Don't do it on my system. But I found out that thousands of people a month are getting this letter. They send you a letter and they say, we have proof that you're pirating all this software, and they list it, and they say, you're going to pay us money or we're going to sue you. It's like basically an extortion letter, in my opinion and view, and I've got lawyers on it. But most people just freak out. I mean, they say we're pirating medical software. Yeah, because we're a hospital. Just all sorts of stuff that we don't use, wouldn't use, and is obsolete. But our IT guys looked into it. None of what they list is on our system, but we did find other stuff where people are surfing the news and it installs, you're trying to get it off, just little crud programs, and it says, oh, here's your free trial, but you've got to uninstall it in 30 days or it's theft. And you know, my issue is I'm too busy fighting the New World Order, but someone needs to litigate against all these groups. But the reason I mention that before I get to some of the news and then open the phones up here is that when you sit there and you deal with all of this, yeah, here, go ahead and bring it on here. Yeah, I'm going to get to this later, though. I'm going to do a report on this later. And you get this lawyer letter, and it says, litigation hold notice. And then it goes into just all of these programs we don't even use. Just absolutely amazing. You know, Final Cut Pro, Premiere, Adobe, all the stuff we use, it's all here. You know, we have those big group licenses, you name it. And of course, none of that's even listed here. Just total, you're going to give us a bunch of money or we're going to sue you. And a lot of people don't, they just get scared and roll over. But side issue, the reason I just thought of that and mentioned that is it's so easy for your neighbor to call and say, yeah, I saw the kids playing in the front yard. And the police come and arrest you for child endangerment because your 11-year-old was playing in the front yard. It's not even illegal. But they call it endangerment. They just define it. It's so easy to go to jail for a garden now. They say, well, the city finds it objectionable. We just say objectionable in our little local law that's obviously, if it was challenged, would be overthrown. But even when it's overthrown, no one gets in trouble. This is just the bureaucratic criminal class run by foreign corporations teaching us we're absolute slaves. But now they're saying, well, your neighbor will just say, yeah, I smelled marijuana. Boom, you get SWAT teamed. I know a lot of people, we've done news reports on this, who get SWAT teamed over blood weeds that look a little bit like marijuana. They grow in pretty much every yard. If you've got like an acre piece of property, you let weeds grow up, you're going to get blood weed. It looks a little bit like marijuana. And they say, well, we flew over with a helicopter and we saw it. And in one story I did about, 12 years ago with Mike Hansen, we had to dig that up and put it online. And I know we've got the tape around here somewhere. We put it on local access TV, you know, pretty much pre-internet revolution when it was really widespread and operable to really use internet online. Pre-YouTube, basically, when we couldn't afford to put it online ourselves. And to make a long story short, they went into this area and SWAT teamed like 7 houses. And they just flew over with a helicopter and videotaped to go get a warrant, because they got a warrant in this case, bloodweed growing on the green belt behind the houses. And the cops were laughing. They knew it was Travis County. They knew it wasn't marijuana. And they went into one guy's house and pulled out his Playboys and made fun of him in front of his kids. And, you know, said, what's this to BB guns? And, you know, I mean, it's just mindlessness. And most narcotics police are dealing drugs themselves. I mean, that's come out everywhere. Most big police departments, even Dallas has been caught a few years ago, planting drugs on people who had nice cars. They just wanted to take them. They're organized crime syndicates. by and large. The drug war must be ended or it's over. But this is the new economy. Hey, somebody told us you've got pirated software for hospital systems, and we're going to sue you if you don't pay us money. And you know what? I've been hit with these slap suits with similar things, and I go to court and I beat them, but then we've got to sit here and spend money and time beating it. And I think I'm just going to have to get to the point where I'm going to have to start suing people and really aggressively winning. So when I get these letters, I can send them news articles about our lawsuits. So I'm now going to have to go into a prosecutory mode with all of these bottom feeders, just because I can't sit here and slap them down and beat them when they do this stuff. These are just threats of suits. And I talk about behind-the-scenes stuff. This is the type of thing. But now they're saying, we're just going to randomly, in fact, the court said, we're just going to, like, during Halloween, we're going to just come to your door with dogs because you're putting candy out. That means you're giving us an excuse to come to your door. You're hanging out a shingle that I want to open the door to you. They're claiming that's like a vampire. You're inviting them in. They're going to come with a dog and just see if they... if there's any wafting drug smell with some fat beagle or German shepherd that gets biscuits all day. I mean, I've had friends that don't use drugs where they've gotten the fat beagle out of the car. Roscoe Pico train gets Flash out and comes over and he says we're gonna get a warrant for that now. That probable cause right there, little honey baby. I mean, I've had enough of this. Our country is converting to tyranny. All right, here's the toll-free number. We're going to take a ton of calls. We're going to get into the hurricane. Stuart Rhodes is coming on. But I want to take a lot of calls today on the election, on the hurricane, on the police state, on whatever you want. But the government's hungry, and it wants to eat out your substance, as the Declaration of Independence states. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Big show today. Lined up for you, Infowars.com.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done has been right.
They're running out of gasoline on the East Coast. More looting continuing that the national media attacked yours truly for saying would take place. The Atlantic magazine said it doesn't exist. It's a myth there's ever looting after a hurricane. Forget all the facts that we see in the Americas, from the Caribbean to the United States. There's always looting after a hurricane. The question is the severity. We're going to look at all that. We're going to look at the geopolitical news and a lot more. Bloomberg Business Week says it's global warming, stupid. That's why New York has been flooded many times by storm surge, mainly the storm surge, high waves, and then a full moon, together with the tide and high storm surge coming in, flooded things. It's happened hundreds of times in the last 400, 500 years of recorded history on the East Coast, dozens of times in New York. And the answer is pay Al Gore and Bloomberg that are invested in carbon credit trading scams, pay them money. Suckers. After all, Bloomberg says you can't have guns, you can't have 16-ounce drinks. Now he's going to ban popcorn because he says it's bad for you. And Chicago, I saw an article yesterday about how bad the Chicago school system food is. But don't worry, mommy and daddy can't pack lunches in many Chicago school districts. And now that's spreading nationwide. It's orders of Michelle Obama. The president's wife decides what kids eat now. That sounds like a free country. Can you imagine 50 years ago if you said, in 2012, in the next century, the president's wife will tell kids what to eat, and parents won't be able to pack lunches, and school-issued laptops will watch kids at home. You'd say, shut up, this isn't 1984. This isn't 1984. 1984 isn't coming true. George Orwell's book had just been published 60 years ago. Been out for a few years. You'd say, that's crazy. That'll never happen. Okay, I said I'd take a lot of calls. I've just got all this news spread out in front of me, but I want to give you a chance to respond to the election, whatever's on your mind. Each person's got a minute. Let's go to Kelly in North Carolina. You're first up at bat. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for taking my call. Real quick, have you done any research on, the dome that's over in the Grand Canyon? Well, I can't say that. I think it's something about Hoover Dam and Barack Obama and Halo 4. Have you looked at that at all?
What's the source, ma'am? Hoover Dam, Halo 4.
Okay. Hoover Dam, they're saying on Mr. Fuji Time 1, it's a YouTube video that has just come out and has got a lot of hits on it right now, and they're saying that the Hoover Dam has something to do with Barack Obama and some type of flood that's supposed to happen and kill millions of people, and Halo 4 has some connection to it.
Well, ma'am, listen, government could pull false flags, and I appreciate your call. But part of something government does on purpose, not just individuals, is they flood the news with flying saucers will land in New York next month, and they give the date, and everybody's out there waiting for it. Or they say there's going to be a nuclear attack on this day, and that doesn't happen. And then we get on air and say they're going to launch a war in the Middle East last year, and they've since launched a hot war against Iran, which they admit on C-SPAN they're doing. That they've launched a hot war in Libya and Syria. Those are wars, but people say, Alex, where's the war? It never happened. And hundreds of thousands are dying total. If you count Libya, Syria, Sudan, all these conflicts, with the West funding al-Qaeda. I mean, it's like people always want to talk about chemtrails. What are they? Hey, look in the sky. But then I'm like, okay, here are documents. Here's the admission of the aerosol program, how they're doing it. I don't want to see that. What is it? No one knows. It's like the mystery is solved. We know what's going on. And there's just always, the Nacera Project. Next month, the good guys will arrest the bad guys. Never happens. Obama visited the Hoover Dam back on October 2nd, and there's nothing going on with the Hoover Dam. And the mere fact that, we don't screen your calls. I'm not saying you're bad to call in about it. I get emails and calls constantly. Every week, I even have family ask me about stuff, but you've got to look at the sources. There are online sites out there that every week say Russian intelligence is providing information that there was that Bill Gates was arrested or this or that. It's just not true. Meanwhile, Bill Gates is in ABC News saying we want world government to forcibly reduce population. I mean, if you go to Infowars.com right now, they are taking mentally disabled women and who happen to get pregnant and forcing them to have abortions, saying they can't take care of the kid. Not even when the babies are healthy and can be adopted. If they can't kill the kid, then they want the state to take the kid. Here's some of the headlines at Infowars.com. Actor, if Romney wins by slim margin, America will explode. Find out what actor is saying that. It's a pretty prominent one. And if someone has been a guest on this show, that's up at Infowars.com. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Court may force mentally disabled Nevada woman to have abortion. Unbelievable. Overpopulation is eugenics agenda lie. Melissa Melton. Police state growth is exploding. Finishing up with the lady calling in, sounded very nice. I looked up what she was talking about. People see things in video games, and because there's been TV programs on before that show exactly what later happens, like 9/11, Fox TV put out a lone gunman episode where the government hijacks a jet to fly it in the World Trade Center to blame it on Afghan terrorists, to bring in martial law and take Americans' liberties. And they remote control the aircraft again and blame it on Afghans. That's called throwing it in your face. But in the case of most of these, 99% of the time, okay, there's a video game saying the Hoover Dam is going to get blown up. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. But 2 weeks ago, I covered the article where actors in these TV shows that play the part of American patriot terrorist, part of the branding, people start fights with them on the street thinking they're really that person. And that's because the public is a bunch of zombies raised on television from birth who cannot differentiate reality from unreality. I remember seeing a documentary on many years ago. It's probably like 20 years ago on A&E, I think it was. It was fascinating. We should dig that up. It was a documentary about Gilligan's Island and how people would see the stars for decades who were typecast from the 1960s program, and they would say, where is that island? I want to visit that island. And charter companies would have people come for decades and say, we want to go to that island. And they're like, no, that's a TV show. That's not real. And you've got people that are worse than children. I mean, they have no idea. I was sitting there once, and a young woman, we were eating meat, and the young woman was a teenager. And she said, well, how do they get the meat from the cows? Do they have surgeries? And I made the joke, yeah, they have a surgery, all right. You seen how Freddy Krueger does surgery? Yeah, I mean, these people don't know where electricity comes from. They don't know how their bodies work. They don't know anything. And the criminals that run things, folks, are going wild. Bloomberg, the control freak that wants to tell you what to drink, what to eat, what to do. I mean, he is out of control, makes his money out of, all sorts of, inside deals. Bloomberg ordered people, because they're already getting, London's already done this, German cities have already done this. He says, okay, now everything's carpooling. And it just shut the whole city down, total gridlock. They don't care. It's all about the raw exercise of power with these people. You're not going to pack your kid a school lunch. We're going to feed them crap. Michelle Obama says so. Okay, I'm going to go to your calls here. I just wanted to play this video for TV viewers, but narrate it for radio listeners. Here is shocking in New York, and we'll put it up on screen. This is up at drudgereport.com. You can link through over there to it. In Crown Heights, surveillance camera, and they just beat somebody up, trip them, and then not only do they rob them, the gang joins in cowardly on beating and stomping the person. And this is a big, hot thing that's done in Chicago, New York, even Dallas. It's done in L.A., where the funnest thing is to sucker punch an old man and then have their head hit the ground and kill them in a big pool of blood. We've all seen those videos. They're very popular entertainment on the gangbanger sites. Beating someone who's old and weak is the big prize. Of course, wouldn't it be nice to see an old man like it'd be in Texas pull out a revolver and kill the thugs? But see, no. This is the happy hunting ground of New York City, where if the thugs don't get you, the cops probably will. And I've even talked to Austin cops who've been there and asked directions from cops and been screamed at in New York. Do I look like a phone book? Let me see your ID. They'll even do that in front of families with kids because they're thugs. And they won't protect you, and they won't let you protect yourself. And then they have people that have taken guns illegally on the subway, who've been robbed over and over again, who kill a bunch of people that attack them, and then they try to put them in jail. What's that guy's name? He's famous. He's a listener. He called in, and I confirmed it was him years ago, had him on as a guest. The point is that you try to loot my house, you're dead. You try to attack me, you're dead. But see, what's even sadder about this is these thugs, they do it to old people, folks. They do it to old people. And they do it to people with little kids with them sometimes. I've seen mothers beat up with their little kids. This is what America is. This is what America has become. And they take little kids for minor offenses and throw them in juvie, where they get raped and everything. They get inducted, and the worst criminals in the juvenile halls become their role models, and this is our new culture. This is what America is. And a lot of the gangbangers end up becoming police now. So that's the new America. Before I go to your calls, as promised, I want to race through them here. Before I do that, InfoWars magazine is out. Speaking about people in a trance, we have all the medical factoids proof, epilepsy being caused by television, rewiring of children's brains, the public in a trance-like state by design. It's all right here in the new InfoWars magazine. And, of course, we got 4 articles on zombies in it. We've got articles on the Second Amendment, the police state, the New World Order, the surveillance grid. It is all in the new magazine. And the best way to wake somebody up this Christmas is to get a 12 issues, 13 when we have enough of the last issue to send out. Most of you will get 13. When you first sign up for a subscription, you'll get 2 in the mail the first time. But we can't guarantee that, but most people will get 13. But guaranteed 12 issues delivered to your friends, your family, the police station's door, the library's door, the college dorm's door, your alumni center door, whatever it is, the Forest Service door. You just go and you just put in the address and pay for it, and we'll mail 13 of these out, probably 13, guaranteed 12. Sometimes we have extra back issues. We may put 3 in. The point is, in that first issue, it might be 14. The point is 12 issues over and over and over again. And let me tell you something. We've done time lapses of these. We put on the street now 70,000 in Austin, free, because it just gets the word out, and I just love it here in my town where I live. I put these out, and we've done time-lapse right next to the other newspapers and magazines. 10 to 1, they pick up our magazine to every other, quote, free local magazine, the Austin Chronicle, you name it. These things disappear at almost every newsstand within days when we put 50 to 100 of them out. So the point is that InfoWars magazine, we ship it out to you, the subscriptions at cost, and you can buy them in bulk at cost in groups of 10 up to 100. And they're big color books, basically, to wake up friends and family like the founders did with the pamphleteers. So calling pamphleteers, all of you, it looks like this is going to sell out like the first issue did. We didn't sell out of the second issue. We almost did. I printed 110,000 that time. That's why. We printed 100,000 of these, 30,000 we can sell or put in subscriptions, 70,000 now going out on the streets of Austin. Zombies, The Secret Life of Zombies. Are you a zombie? So important. And it's got a big crossword puzzle on the back about the New World Order. It's got the incredible artist profile of Ben Garrison, the famous patriot, and he's also a listener, cartoonist. I mean, just a weapon system to wake people up. InfoWarsStore.com to go get your subscription or get a gift subscription. We've also got the new film, Strategic Relocation, breaking down the safest areas, even in your area, down to the safest countries if you do want to evacuate the United States, which we pretty much recommend you don't do because the whole world's going to hell in a handbasket under globalist design. But if you've got to punch out because they're already after you, it's got those all listed. And, of course, you can get Strategic Relocation, the book that goes with it, and The Secure Home by Joel Skousen, discounted at InfoWarsStore.com. Okay, enough from me. Let's go to your phone calls. Karen in Arizona, you're on the air. Thank you for holding. Welcome.
Yes, Alex, are you aware on October 26th, just 4 days before Sunday, Obama signed an executive order establishing the White House Homeland Security Partnership Council?
Yes, and that goes in and basically takes over your local governments, your local police, your local everything.
That dovetails with the police consolidation law enforcement. Yes, it does. And it's, State Department, Department of Treasury, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Department of Interior. It does. Even the Department of Veterans Affairs, you name it. It lists a whole bunch of things that the Bureau of Investigation. It lists a lot of everything.
Well, you know why Hitler did this, so did Lenin, and then later Stalin did it. When you want to get rid of the old bureaucracy that you don't control, who aren't total criminals, you just create a new bureaucracy and then you start putting everything under it so that Congress, who controlled the old bureaucracy as it's supposed to a certain extent, Congress, Homeland Security, DHS, TSA is now absolutely a power unto itself. And the federal courts are ruling they can disappear you forever and kill you. There's no more Fourth Amendment. They are announcing their lawlessness. What does Satan do? He stomps around roaring, seeing who he may devour.
The Department of Justice, too. That means our legal system.
Well, the legal system is run by Eric Holder, who helped cover up Oklahoma City. That came out in court. Was clearly, from my research, intimately involved and did the false flag of Fast and Furious. This is a mafia. And they've now destroyed the country, and they're going to fully rob it now. And we are in grave danger. Everyone must non-comply as much as you can and speak out against the enemy occupation force. God bless you, ma'am. Yes, we did not really, I mentioned that a few weeks ago, but never, or a week ago or so, never even got into it properly. They have the Rural Council over the 10 regions with Homeland Security and the Department of Defense over rural areas. They're having local meetings about spying on your neighbors in rural areas. It's Red Dawn, folks, in slow motion. We've been hit. We've been hit hard. Now they're putting in the internet and talk radio kill switches and announcing that. And when they stage a big terror attack, whether it's Obama or Romney or whatever puppet comes, they'll try to then drop the hammer on us. So we've got to get the word out now while we still got communication capabilities. Joe in Pennsylvania, you're on the air.
Yeah, how you doing there, Mr. Jones?
Good, sir. Good to hear your voice. Welcome.
I want to know what happened to the backbone and the spirits and the pride of the people. I went on and I looked at the Twitters where the people were saying they were going to loot, and then when they went up there and they put on the pictures of them looting, and there's no mention of it in the media anywhere. I called a bunch of the news programs, left messages, hoping to get something on there, and it's just so disheartening.
No, all the gang attacks on the East Coast are only on local community feed, local cable systems. The national news will not pick up the violent attacks, because then people would say, and by the way, they're calling in New York for concealed carry that everybody else is getting, because they want to protect themselves. And the answer by the mob boss, Bloomberg, is, I'm going to tell you what to eat. I'm going to tell you who can ride in your car. I'm your boss. Is that clear? Or I'm going to smack you.
I think, too, a part of it is a racial element, because it's predominantly, minorities that are doing it.
Well, that's right. Well, but again, that's being done so that the worst elements can then become the dominant element within the minority groups, so that there will be division. Yes, it's very cold-blooded.
And it's so sad. I mean, people got to stand up. I'm trying to wake people up one at a time, because you get in a group and people look at you like you're crazy. But when you can talk to somebody and you sit down and you show them individually, then the light bulb kind of goes on.
Well, sir, I mean, here's an example. Here's my Fox DC. Battered New Jersey agonizes over whether to rebuild shore. Environmentalists say New Jersey should consider not rebuilding everything lost to superstorm. See, Agenda 21 smart growth means we, the mafia, the government, we decide who can build and who can't. You can't build, we can. I mean, it's literally a takeover, sir. And if we keep complying, we're just going to be total slaves.
Well, the other thing that hit me, too, was, when they had that Haiti earthquake, they were quick to have a fundraiser. They're not even talking about having one for the people of our own country. Because the Obama phone lady, she's out there, she's got her free phone, she's comfortable and content. And she's, people like that are just,
Well, no. This is why, because they're going to have federal money go to only insiders.
It's just nuts, and it's disheartening. But some of these people you can't reach. And I made a spoof of the Obama phone lady, but it was Mitt Romney one-upping her because he's rich, giving away a free iPad to support him.
What's the name of the video?
It's just Romney gives away free iPad, and it's basically saying, I used her voice too. Vote for her. I'm voting.
Can
for
I find it on YouTube? We'll play it.
Yeah, I just did it because it's so ridiculous. You can't reach these people, and if you can't reach them, you got to try and.
No, absolutely. Listen, you asked why don't people care? Because they're in a trance. God bless you. Let's go ahead and talk to Fred in Wisconsin. Fred, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. I was wondering if you saw the video that MoveOn.org put out with the people in the retirement home talking about if Romney steals the election, that they're going to burn this MFer down and punch him in the testicles.
You're joking.
Literally. No, literally. That's what the video says.
Has this been picked up yet?
I emailed it to you last night, but if you search for it on YouTube, you'll find it.
Okay, what's the name of it? Move On Video? What's the title? I'll look it up.
Move On Video. Let me see. I found it on Reddit originally. Move On Video. I would just type in "Move On Video Burn Down." It's going viral. They just put it out last night, but it's literally encouraging violence, and they're getting away with it because they're using people that are in their 80s, and it's like trying to make it cute because they're older and they're cussing and they're saying dirty words. It's incredible. See if your crew can find it.
That's one reason I think the media is covering up looting and calls for violence, is they want to stir it up. But do me a favor, email it again to showtips@infowars.com right now, okay?
Okay.
It's Michael Moore doing it? Oh, so you guys already knew about it. I should have been told about this. You even did a story on the nightly news. I didn't know that. Is that the video you're talking about, caller?
It's a video. It starts off with an older woman that says that she first voted for Roosevelt.
No, I understand. What's the name of the video? If you just tell me, because or just give me the phone. I'll call Watson. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you. I gotta find it again.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll look into that. Yeah, I mean, you've got all these people with Twitter and Facebook and the rest of it that are just allowed to say and do whatever they want. And then meanwhile, you've got the feds trying to go after the American people. If we simply say we don't want a new world order, they say we're crazy extremists, it doesn't exist, as the national news announces a new world order run by foreign banks. Sick of the globalists, eugenicists, control freaks adding poison to your water and laughing as you get sick and die? Start purifying your water with ProPur. My friends, I've done a lot of research, and the best gravity filter out there, bar none, is ProPur, and it's available discounted at Infowars.com. Its filters are silver impregnated to prevent bacterial growth. There's no priming required. It's NSF 42 certified. Optional fluoride filters can reduce fluoride up to 95%. Easy to set up and use. Doesn't require electricity. Purify water from lakes, streams, ponds, and wells. This filter system leaves in beneficial minerals, which is key. Save money by not buying bottled water and avoid BPA that leaches from the plastic. ProPur is the best gravity-fed filter out there. It's what my family uses. Infowars.com already has the lowest price on ProPur. But if you add the promo code WATER at checkout, you get an additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call to order 888-253-3139. Here's the Infowars.com article where we linked to the Daily Caller 2.5 days ago on October 30th. I do miss some things that are on Infowars.com, and I did miss it, and I went and watched it during the break. It is officially Michael Moore, and they call for burning down cities and sexually assaulting Mitt Romney if he wins at the Rosebud Nursing Home with real old people. And it says, a message from the greatest generation calling to burn cities and sexually assault Mitt Romney. And I can't play it on air. Again, I'm usually ahead of the curve. Sometimes I miss stuff because I'm so busy, covering the hurricane and things like that. They simultaneously, though, have the different George Soros outlets saying that I'm making it up, that there are calls to riot if Obama loses. So it's amazing how these guys operate. It's like they control reality because they're speaking to a zombified public. That they pretty much do. And so they say, there is no world government, but there is, and we're going to take over. And if you don't like it, you're crazy because there's no world government. And they go, yeah, we're going to riot and burn things down if Obama loses, but you're bad and racist because no one said they were going to burn anything down. But we're going to burn stuff down if he loses. But you're bad if you say we just said that. And people go, yes, sir. That's right. Burn everything down if he loses, but it doesn't exist. And those of us that live in reality are just like, what's going on? The public is in a dreamlike state. They think movies are real. They think Gilligan's Island is a real place. They thought that in the 60s. They think that video games are real. People live in fantasy video game land now. They have all these virtual realities. This is the Matrix. And it's so scary to see the public this dumbed down. And I can't even keep track of it anymore because they were like, you didn't know about these other videos where they're threatening to kill people or attack people or burn things down? And I guess Michael Moore's putting out and Move On's putting out a bunch of these now. And I guess the Justice Department runs the Secret Service. I guess they're allowed to. They've been told. Remember Obama told Odinga when he was a U.S. Senator, told his cousin over in Kenya, he said, it came out in the letterhead, I cover it in the Obama Deception, that if you lose against the Christian majority with your Muslim minority, riot, and then they'll give you a spot in the government. And they gave him the prime ministership. They created that position next to the presidency in kind of a split government. And so because the people are awake to this, it may not happen. But I mean, pretty clearly now, this is some type of ace in the hole that the system is thinking about using if Mitt Romney actually wins. And it's not that Mitt Romney's even a good guy. It's that there's different mafias behind these guys. And the group that wants Obama in is really enjoying the billions of dollars in no-bid contracts and the billions of dollars of deals that they're getting, shutting down their competition, shutting down car dealerships that they don't own, the energy deals, the Solyndra type stuff. So they just intend to keep this thing rolling. And, man, I mean, if I made a video and said physically attack Mitt Romney or Obama, I'd get arrested. If I did a video and even acted like it was a spoof and said, because it comes off as real. It's like old ladies going, I'm gonna burn stuff down. I'm gonna attack and rip the testicles off, basically, is what they say of Mitt Romney. I mean, it's just like, what? What? The communists all over the world, in different countries they've taken down, because they like to mass murder and control everything, they have gotten away with countless crimes. The fascists under Hitler did it, Mussolini. They were street gangs. And more the Democratic Party operates with a bunch of street gang people as their operatives who they cover up for and allow to engage in any type of crime you want. And that's now happening again with Michael Moore calling for old people and others to burn down cities and sexually assault Mitt Romney if he wins. And I didn't see this 2 days ago. I was, I guess, giving it my stack, but the headline was so mild I didn't even watch the video. I mean, the headline should be, Democratic video calls for, burning cities and a sexually assaulting Romney if Democrats lose. I mean, it's so over the top. And so that video is up at Infowars.com. You guys put that article back on screen so I can give people the headline so they can find it since it scrolled off the main page. Michael Moore, MoveOn.org video features dirty-mouthed old people lambasting Republicans' Romney. Click on the Daily Caller, the original, because we just posted the video, and see if that's their real headline or if we did that. Yeah, just click on that blue link right there for me. Yeah, that's their real, I mean, that headline should read, Michael Moore video features old people saying they'll burn things down and attack Romney if, Democratic video calls for violence if Obama loses. I mean, that's what they did. See, but see, there's always this attitude in the media, oh, let's hold back. That's too sensational. Well, it is sensational. I mean, John Wayne Gacy killed dozens of young men and buried their bodies down in the basement. And, I mean, what they say, oh, John Wayne Gacy was mean to some young boys down in his basement. No, he tortured them and buried them and dressed up like a demonic clown. Okay, that's sensational. But when it's sensational, it's sensational. All right, I got Stuart Rhodes coming up in 30 minutes, so we can just keep racing through your calls. Eric in Tejas in Texas, Julius and others, your calls are coming up. Toll-free number to join us, 800-25-99231. Eric, go ahead.
Hey, yes, Alex. It's nice to talk to you. I have just a few things to say. I'm a drunken patriot, so I do drink alcohol, but I still am aware. I want to say a few things. First, your attack with lawsuits, you need to do that. I'm in real estate. You always go on the offensive in the lawsuits. You do this. 2, Interfood. That stuff has kept me totally not with any sickness for 4 years since I started taking it.
We've got their whole line discounted at InfoWarsStore.com. They're awesome folks. Mike Adams heartily endorses them. And yes, Interfood, all available at InfoWarsStore.com. And again, all the purchases and things, shopping with us, the patriots, the people on the light side, not the dark side, is what helps fund our operation. They also have great organic storable food as well, all available at InfoWarsStore.com. So what are you drinking today at 12 noon Central?
I want to go through my things because...
No, hold on. What are you drinking today?
I drink Red Dog because it's like really inexpensive beer. But your iPhone app, I listen to that like 60% now. The preparedness thing. If everyone thinks water, food, and shelter are all you need, they are so wrong. Communications, there's so many things. They need to get the Joel Skousen thing with you. And you know what? You are right. America is over. The choices are to flee or to stay and fight, because that's what's coming down to. And if we do stay, we need a continental Congress with you and all.
Wow, it's the intelligent drunk calling. I'm just teasing you, brother. It's just funny you're announcing I am drinking. I can tell sometimes people got the day off and they call because they're like, hey, Alex, I hear a fabulous job there. Hold on just a minute. The looting continues on the East Coast and the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy. That has been a pretty big disaster. Fox News is reporting environmental groups say under Agenda 21 they should not be allowed to rebuild the tourist areas that are so popular on the coast of New Jersey. They just say, no, it's bad for the earth to have houses. And they are the mafia chieftains. Of course, special insiders will be allowed to build. Bloomberg's used the excuse to lock down most of the city and say you have to carpool in, causing giant gridlock. It's all about having total control. MoveOn.org advocates violence against Romney in profanity-laden ad. Joe Newby actually got the headline right. I saw the Daily Caller. I'm not bashing it, but they're like, old people talk dirty in new video. No, they don't talk dirty or featured foul-mouthed old people lambasting Republicans. They call for burning things down and physically attacking Mitt Romney, ripping his testicles off, and an old woman simulates it. I mean, this is sick. This is sick. Ladies and gentlemen, if I put a video out, even if I was Michael Moore and said it was comedy and said physically attack the genitals of Barack Obama, imagine having an old woman say that, and that let's burn this down if Obama loses. While there's all these calls for violence, I will assure you, within a day, probably sooner, the Secret Service would be here, and they just go ahead and arrest me. There wouldn't even be, is this a joke? I mean, they take people mildly saying, Obama's over in Europe, we should stay over there or fall off the earth, close quote, boom. I've seen people that have been Secret Service over that. But you go out and say, I'm going to loot and kill and attack and let's kill Republicans, close quote, let's burn everything down. It's like, more power to you, man. More Michael Moore, MoveOn.org, George Soros. Look at Media Matters 2 years ago. It came out, they said, we want to infiltrate alternative media, anybody that resists us, and we're going to destroy them from within. And Politico's ran a headline about how it was cute. Again, they normalize their attacks on everybody else, but then if we say we like, a particular flavor of ice cream, they say it's racist. Or if we don't like socialism, it's racist. By the way, we're going to cover this puppet election, obviously, right through, and a lot of false flags could get pulled. A lot of things could be done between now and the next 6 days. We are now less than 6 days, 5.5 days till Election Day, and 6 days until we find out unless it's contested. And that could be the false flag, could be a contested election. And they've still got more looting and rioting, and the military and state police called out in New Jersey and New York because of, troopers deployed to New Jersey gas stations as frustration, massive lines form at the pump. So there's all sorts of problems, flooding, whole beach towns basically destroyed. And the local Agenda 21 says, you ain't rebuilding. Oh, you own that little hotel there for 2 generations? You got to come and get a special environmental authorization to rebuild, scum. Time to grease the palms or nothing happens, if you're lucky. It's for the earth, though. Anyways, this great promo put together with our own master of video editing, not just a great news anchor and reporter, Darren McBreen, with the voice of Jakari Jackson. So here is the special promo report premiering here.
Every 4 years, the United States of America hears the drumbeat of billions of campaign dollar attack ads, meaningless debate with empty analysis and poll after poll after poll. This can only mean one thing. It's time to pick our globalist puppet leader.
We're going to be left with a choice of a lesser of two evils. And I'm saying I don't go out with evils, I don't deal with evils, I don't do business with evils, I don't hang out with evils. Why would I vote for an evil to run my life or run my country?
Will it be globalist puppet A or puppet B?
They continue to vote for these Democrats and Republicans, the people that are wrecking our country, and yet they still vote for them.
Unlike North Korea and China, we Americans have the illusion of choice this November 6th.
I think that a lot of votes are going to be stolen.
I don't know how you could possibly have voter fraud when your son owns the voting machines.
1.4 million votes were lost, spoiled, as they call them in the biz, through these so-called glitches.
The choice is not up to you. Which management team from Slavery Incorporated will run our country into oblivion for the next 4 years? Tune in to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.tv this Tuesday, November 6th, as another meaningless pageant is played out.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to be here Monday and Tuesday with the radio show, and then extended coverage, 7 o'clock Monday night until probably 10 at night. We're going to go live with some of the news packages, and then Tuesday night, live streaming video, free video box for everybody. We've already got stations and cable systems, not just here but all over the world, lined up once I start putting the news out on satellite and the file sharing systems. Tape to air in the next 6 months or so. We're racing to get it done, but we're busy finishing some studios and things. And I want to thank all of the listeners and viewers for your support, or we couldn't be doing this. Thank you so much. And sure, everything could collapse next week. I hope it doesn't, or I could die in a car wreck today, God forbid, or you could. But we're just moving forward as if we're still going to be here, you know, in the next year. There is a lot of tyranny, a lot of behind-the-scenes attacks against us, but because of your support, we're able to do this. But every time you buy a book, buy a video, buy a T-shirt, get a magazine subscription, every time you, buy my films, every time you spread the word about the show, every time you support a local AM or FM by spreading the word about the broadcast or supporting their local sponsors, every time you locally sponsor affiliates we're on. If you're listening, I'm talking to you. They gave me the new affiliate list, and I looked at it. I don't know. Genesis are great folks, but I don't know what is so hard about getting all the affiliates. I guess because they're overworked up there like everywhere else. And over the years, things are coming and going. But, I got an affiliate list with like 110 stations last week, and I said, I know it's more than that. Then I got another one like 130-something, and I looked at it and said, this local station isn't on there. And then David Knight walked in. His wife still lives up in North Carolina. They're moving down here soon, one of our new reporters. And she listens on a local FM commercial station. So we got to, I mean, we get calls from stations we don't even know we're picking it up. The show is exploding right now by the grace of God. And it's because of all of you praying for us and supporting us, but also program directors, station managers, station owners, advertisers that have stood up for America. So many station managers have called Genesis and said, I heard Alex 10 years ago as a guest on our station with a host saying they're going to have mega banks implode the economy and bring in world government. It's all happening just like he said. I'm putting him on. And then they're getting huge responses. So we've got a chance to beat the globalist. If despite all my foibles and all my problems, I've had this much success by the grace of God. And there are people out there doing little things, big things, you name it. It all adds up together. So I salute you. I salute you. I salute you. I salute you. All of you out there, just absolutely amazing what you've done. And people say, oh, thank you, Alex, for doing what you're doing. Yes, I can be put in prison and set up or killed. But you know what? There's no future if we don't beat these people. Okay? I mean, last night, my parents were having not even a Halloween party. They just had a few friends over for a fire. Out in their little fire pit in their backyard. And my kids were over there. And an old family friend of my parents came over. And I guess they've known him like 20 years. And he was like, yeah, I was talking to my son about, if you believe all this. And we think you believe most of it. No. I believe all of it. I mean, I want that to be clear. I make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes I exaggerate or I have hyperbole. That is the minority of the time. I don't do it on purpose. Most of the time, it's worse than what I say. Historically, I've seen that, okay? And believe me, I wish this wasn't true. But it's a responsibility to fight these people because they're doing really bad things to women and children. And people are like, well, that's cheesy. What is this women and children thing? I've gotten emails saying, what's this old-fashioned, look out for yourself. That's how you get ahead. That's the new, moral intelligence is to just, no, that's how societies collapse. That's how societies go the way of the Goonie bird or the dodo bird. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And that's what civilization is. It's getting in the face of bullies or bullies will take over. Okay? It's real simple. And bullies are taking over. And it's going to get real bad, folks, because we're giving them a green light. So, danger, Will Robinson. So used to the phone numbers being over there, now they're over here. Rob in North Carolina. Rob, what's on your mind today, sir?
Hello, Alex. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, I had two things. I wanted to kind of ask the audience to do something if they have children, and I also have a question regarding like a bug-out country, if you want to call it that. But what I'd like, I actually have the the luxury of owning my own business that I didn't build, of course. And I've got a little 6-year-old daughter, and I actually go to her public school. She's in 1st grade, and I'll actually eat lunch with her about once a week.
Very evil.
It's terrible. But, you know, what's really even worse is the food they serve there. It's just, I can't describe it. It's absolutely terrible. It's like green beans aren't even green, and it's...
Now, the lowest grade of food that cannot be sold in grocery stores is dumped on the kids.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
And now the mafia nationwide is saying, you're going to pay us for this crud, Mac. And most parents literally bow.
But please, for the folks that are out there that have children, you know, spend some time with the kid, go to lunch with them at the school, and actually eat the school lunch. And then you're going to decide that you're not going to want to, you know, buy the food. You're going to want to send it the pack lunch with the child every
Do you
day.
mean you shouldn't just mindlessly trust the system and just turn your kids over to people and have no idea what's going on, even though public schools are watching kids with cameras in the bathrooms and forcibly inoculating them and taking them to have abortions without parental consent? You mean we should watch a group of known criminals run by foreign banks indoctrinating our kids? How extreme. You know, if you are going to have your kid in a government training camp, it's good to have that as an education for them of how this is birth in the New World Order, and let them be soldiers in the info war to wake people up. Great job, sir. God bless you. Big Sis loaning out military-style drones to sheriff's departments. Privacy group sues. And federal court ruling that they can put cameras on your property without telling you. I mean, they're putting up microphones and cameras and transformers and light poles everywhere and admitting it. And they're announcing again they're looking at taser bracelets to fly, and I predict people will take them and put them on. Woo. Kurt Nemo's got an article, police state growth rate of cops exceeds population growth, but more and more they're paramilitary SWAT style, or they generate revenue. They don't respond to crime. Oh, man, I love it. It's so good for our country. Let's go to Chris in Florida. I'm being sarcastic, folks. Chris in Florida listening on WTAN 1340 AM. Get a lot of calls, a lot of listeners on that great station. You're on the air, Chris. Welcome.
Thank you, Alex. Are you aware that on Judicial Watch 1, their Freedom of Information Act request a lawsuit against the Department of Justice this past July 23rd, where it was revealed where U.S. District Court Judge Reggie Wolfen ruled in favor of Judicial Watch that they were involved conspiring to with the trial attorneys to have dismissed the cases against the new Black Panther Party and their voter intimidation of 2008.
Yes, I was aware of that, and now it's coming out in federal documents in court. Like, that's in my stack. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm going to dig it out and cover it. That the federal government is having Mexican mafia kill cops that are actually enforcing the law and arresting their dealers. So, I mean, the federal government is a murdering mafia, period.
Absolutely. They're protecting these agent provocateurs as, of course, an excuse to divide and conquer us and an excuse to take away our rights in case somebody...
They're letting Michael Moore put out a video saying, let's burn things down if Romney if Romney wins. I think we now have, with the cussing bleeped, and saying they're going to sexually assault Romney, and the old woman simulates ripping his testicles off. I mean, folks, we would be arrested in hours for that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. And then we have here in our local community-sponsored station, fake liberal progressive station, that is having the new Black Panther Party Chief of Staff, Michelle Williams, on prior to, of course, her arrest 2 weeks ago for trying to sell a house that never belonged to her. And she's trying to capitalize not only on the Trayvon Martin shooting, you know, she's the one who was calling for George Zimmerman's head dead or alive. And
then she didn't get in trouble for that.
No, she didn't. And then she's trying to capitalize on a Javon Neal shooting by police, where finally when the police footage was released, it showed that, yes, he was carrying a shotgun, and he was trying to elude police from about 5 seconds in front of them, and the police shot him because they allege, it wasn't shown on the video, but it's pretty clear that they had to defend him.
No, listen, it's just like Trayvon Martin. They showed a 5-year-old photo of him. And then the black neighbor said that he was bouncing Zimmerman's head off the concrete. Then the photos got released of Zimmerman's bloody head and everything else. And it turned out, and it's a tragic thing that had happened, but it turns out that the Justice Department, this came out, remember MSNBC editing the tape? Weren't they being sued over that? To have it sound like Zimmerman was saying, you know, like, oh, he's a black guy, he must be bad, but it was totally edited. They asked him what color is he, but they cut that part out. And turned out the Justice Department had provocateurs in there trying to get riots going. I mean, it is unbelievable the stuff they get away with. They've been caught with Fast and Furious, and no one's gotten in trouble.
Oh, yes, and these are the issues that our local WMNF community-sponsored station says nobody cares about Fast and Furious, and we have three of the personalities on the station who are trying to use Michelle Williams as a proxy to capitalize on these deaths on the unfortunate black teens. And then, you know, and then WTSP, local Channel 10 station, does show those pictures of George Zimmerman with his head cut up, and they say that they don't care how the jury trial is going to end. They keep on accusing him of using the racial slur coon, but never mind that Michelle Williams is using racial epithets all over the place.
Look, here's the deal, and I appreciate your call. We're going to go to break and come back with Stuart Rhodes and more calls. But listen, here's the issue. The globalists have destroyed all our communities. They started with the black community. They broke up the families. Then they give a gangster culture to the kids. And then they try to basically play us all off against each other. It's absolutely disgusting. But I need to get to this first. This video has gone viral the last 2 days with 1.596 million, and the way YouTube lags, it's probably like 3 million right now, really. It's tired of Bronco Obama, or O'Bumbles, and Mitt Romney. And the website is Elizabeth Evans. We're going to try to get her on the show. And she's authorized us to play this video here on air. And it's her daughter. You know, I wanted to put my 4-year-old daughter when she was 2, 3, 4 because she's so cute. And my other daughter is now 8 years old. I wanted to put her on TV. My wife won't allow it because they're so cute. But this little girl, there's very few as cute as my girl. She is so sweet and just as cute, which is like cute to the power of infinity. But it's funny, when they showed me this video this morning, my children is the same way. They go to homeschool groups. They go to church groups. They go out at wherever, you know, Laser Blazer to play laser tag, and other kids will come over and say, are you for Romney or are you for Obama? And when my 10-year-old son says, I don't like either of their puppets, they go, oh, you're a commie or you're this or that. But the Obama kids threatened to kill my children. They threatened to call the police on them. At a homeschool group where there's just a few liberal kids in it, they went to the teacher and said, call the police. He doesn't like Obama. I mean, I'm telling you, these are authoritarians. And again, it's not that I like Republicans. It's just that Democrats are so bad. You've got some people that are Democrats that mean well, who aren't into all the weird Democratic Party stuff. But it's a weird gang, folks. We're going to play this little clip of this little girl crying, saying she's sick of the election. Because kids understand at a tribal level, there's two groups fighting. It goes on and on and on. And then kids bring it up and people get sick of it. This is how they divide us between Republican and Democrat. And people get real tribal as Republicans or Democrats and get real mean. I remember covering the disputed election results in 2000. Because right downtown is the governor's mansion here in Austin, and Governor Bush had supposedly won. But while that week-long fight went on in the Supreme Court, I would just go down there and cover it. And I would have Democrats hitting me with signs. I'd have Republicans doing it. And the cops would just let them do it. Because as long as you just kind of henpeck somebody, didn't hurt them too bad, they leave you alone. An ABC cameraman attacked me because I was getting video and he didn't want me out across the street. He wanted a shot of the governor's mansion. And he was telling me that, you know, I tell you, you go out to a big event with reporters, they'll step on your feet. They'll get in front of you. You're like, dude, am I going to have to punch you in the nose? I mean, you're like stepping on my feet. This has happened to my crew. They think they're God because they're mainstream God media. But the point is, it just gets so crazy. Meanwhile, the globalists own both sides to a great extent. But yes, the Democrats are their open communist movement, and then Republicans act like they're opposing it and make you think you have a choice. It's kind of like the Republicans with this little life jacket, but they're tied to a big chain ball that pulls you under the water as well. That it would take 50 life jackets to make buoyant. But since there's a life jacket, you think they're keeping you safe. And the Democrats, there is no life jacket. It's just a big ball and chain. But let's go to this little clip of tired of Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. Here it is.
Just because I'm tired of Barack Obama and Mitt Romney.
That's why you're crying? Oh, it'll be over soon, Abby. Okay? The election will be over soon, okay?
Okay.
Oh.
Again, everybody is sick of the election, and I quite frankly can't wait for it to be over. I mean, these are people, and again, I've been around these type of leftists. They're really, when you get around them, they're for eugenics. They think the school should take your kid and make them have an abortion. They're just sick freaks. And they love government. They've all worked for the government. They've been in the government, and it's their, what does Big Sis call it? Maybe we should have her come out on stage for TV viewers. Big Sis calls it the federal family, which is a foreign banking cartel that runs the federal family. And they're not going to stop, ladies and gentlemen. They are not going to stop. They want to take over. They want to take your houses, your cars. They want to conscript you. The Democrats want the draft back. They are the scum of the earth. Let's go ahead and go to Stuart Rhodes, and then we're going to get to Philip. And we're going to get to Julius and Jeff and Maggie and so many others. Just totally and completely disgusting. And then we've got on the other side Mitt Romney, just another flavor of the same cyanide-laced Kool-Aid. But again, the Democrats play the part of the radicals. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.